Hey, what's going on, guys? UFC Fight Night Austin, Beneil Dariush versus Arman Tsarukyan just ended, and this is going to be my full card post-fight. I'm going to go through every single fight on the card and give you my reaction and breakdown. But before I get into that, if you guys enjoy these full card post-fight videos, make sure to like the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, where I come from, that constitutes an ass whooping. Starting off with the first fight of the night, we have Jamey-Lyn Horth versus Veronica Hardy. Veronica Hardy wins via split decision, 29-28. The one judge that scored it for Jamey-Lyn, Horth, scored it 29-28 for her as well. I thought we got the right decision. I think if Horth would have got it, it would have been borderline a robbery. First round was clearly Veronica Hardy landing the better shots on the feet. Even took Horth off her feet at one point with a jab as Horth was throwing a kick. Then in the second round, Veronica Hardy was winning early in the second round. Then got a takedown. Didn't really do all that much damage with it. Ended up exiting out of the ground game. Got back to her feet. Then there was some clinch work. Then Horth got a takedown. Didn't really do a whole lot of damage on the ground. Then like the last 15, 30 seconds of the first round or second round, you had Veronica Hardy land a couple hard up kicks on Horth. Looks like it might have hurt her. I didn't see a replay, but it looks like it might have hurt her. And I thought the second round anyway was for Veronica Hardy. Then the third round, Veronica Hardy starts to wear out. And Jamey-Lyn Horth makes an adjustment, starts throwing elbows on the feet, starts clinching up, throwing elbows there. And I thought Jamey-Lyn Horth clearly won the third round. So I thought this was a clear-cut 29-28. Veronica Hardy, you know, she needs to work on the gas tank, but the movement, the speed was just too much for Jamey-Lyn Horth in the first and second round. And honestly, she wasn't throwing any kicks at all. Jamey-Lyn Horth had some decent kicks. Wasn't throwing any kicks. Wasn't being active at all. Was getting countered nonstop. And lost the fight due to inactivity. But she made some adjustments and won the third round. Moving up on the card, we have Wellington Turman versus Gooden. Gooden wins via second round rear naked choke. First round, Wellington Turman lighting Gooden up on the feet. Gooden having some success, landing some good hard leg kicks. But Wellington Turman landing the better shots in the first round, then gets a takedown with like 2 minutes to go, a high crotch slam, takes him down. Gooden tries to get back to his feet, gets caught in a guillotine for a second, and I thought that was going to be it. And I had a pick for Turman via guillotine, and I thought it was going to be Gooden scrambling up and get guillotined, and it was close, but Gooden just went right back to his back. Turman beats him up on the ground for a little bit for the rest of the round. Then they go to the second round. It's looking like it's going to be more of the same. Turman's landing good shots on the feet, good powerful shots, gets over aggressive, walks into some big shots from Gooden. He gets rocked badly, looks for a desperation takedown, gets a body lock. Gooden just hip tosses him to the ground, immediately moves into full mount and starts smashing him badly. And then Turman gives up his back and gets rear naked choked in the second round. Unbelievable comeback by Gooden. It did not look good for him. Did not look good for him, but Wellington Turman just got over aggressive and got caught badly. Before that, the only thing Gooden really had, he would land a couple combinations, but for the most part, he was getting tagged and landing some decent leg kicks, and that was pretty much it for Gooden. But Turman got over aggressive. He got hurt badly. The referee gave him every opportunity kind of to survive. He took a lot of damage on the ground before eventually getting rear naked choke. So solid win for Gooden. Moving up on the card, this card was crazy. We have Ihor Potieria versus Rodolfo Bellato. What a wild fight this was. You had Ihor Potieria winning the first round, just landing the better shots, stuffing takedowns. Towards the end of the first round, Bellato landed some good shots up against the fence. But I thought it just still, you know, it was clearly Potieria before that. But after that flurry, I couldn't really tell how many of those shots landed live. I've only seen it one time, but some of them landed pretty good. But for the most part, I thought Potieria was clearly winning before that. It was like the last 15 seconds of the round. I thought maybe Bellato could have stole it, but I still scored it for Potieria. Then the second round. I mean, this second round was filthy. Bellato was pressuring badly. He was landing some good shots. He gets overconfident, gets clipped up badly by Potieria. And it looked like it was going to be the end. It looked like it was going to be the end. He shot in on a takedown, ends up at one point in a ninja choke. Looks like he's going to get finished right there. He goes to his back. Then Potieria just starts raining down hammer fist after hammer fist. And it reminded me of, I don't know if you guys played UFC 3 THQ. I think that was the game. Maybe it was the first EA Sports game. I don't remember. I haven't played the UFC games in a while. But there used to be like a sway system on the ground. And you very rarely, like usually when guys are raining down nasty ground and pound, guys typically try to just, you know, break their posture. You've seen Bellato kind of just moving back and forth, and it was just enough. He was getting smashed badly with those hammer fists, but he was moving just enough where the referee let him have an opportunity. It could have been stopped, honestly. And then at one point, Potieria is literally about to get the stoppage. The ref looks like he's going to jump in after the next strike, and Potieria is tired, so then he just rests on Bellato for a second. Then he comes back to, starts throwing some more hammer fist, but nowhere near what it once was. Then Bellato gets to a hip, gets back to his feet, and as soon as he got back to his feet, I knew how tired Potieria was, and I said, if he gets a takedown here, it's over. Sure enough, he batters him a little bit on the feet, immediately shoots a takedown. I think he got stuffed one takedown, but then got the second one. I think it was a single leg. After he took him down, he was in like half guard, throwing knees to the thigh, then an elbow upstairs, or elbows to a thigh, and then elbows upstairs. He was mixing it in. Then boom, Bellato just got into full mount, starts smashing Potieria from full mount. Potieria completely out of gas, can't move. Bellato finishes him via second round TKO. Moving up on the card, we have Joe Solecki versus Klose. Joe Solecki comes out, shoots a takedown immediately, gets a takedown. It's looking like, okay, he's going to out-grapple Klose, but Klose is good at getting back to his feet, good at scrambling. He gets taken down and controlled a bit, but he will find his way back to his feet. He starts to scramble back to his feet. Solecki looks to take his back, but he's over-aggressive, loses the position, ends up on bottom, and it kind of has like a high closed guard, and Klose picks him up and kind of slams him a little bit to kind of get him to open up that guard a little bit. Then they kind of readjust, and then you have Joe Solecki look for an armbar, and Klose says, you know what? I'm going to pick him up and slam him again. Picks him up, slams him on his head, and absolutely sleeps him out cold. It was filthy. These guys, you know, and as we're going to talk about in the next fight as well, if you're getting picked up in the air, chances are, if your head's exposed, you should probably let go of the submission. You know, didn't you learn from Rose Namajunas, Jessica Andrade? So Joe Solecki gets picked up. He's got a kind of a tight armbar. The arm's in there deep. Gets slammed on his head and brutally KO'd by Klose. I mean, that was one of the KOs of the year, to be honest. And I know it's not the elite of the elite. It's not like, you know, a title fight or a number one contender fight, but still, to get a slam KO is pretty nasty. And it pains me to say that when we go and talk about the next fight. But Klose gets it done, slams Joe Solecki. Really not a whole lot to break down in that fight. And there's a lot of first round finishes on this card, but nasty win for Klose. I mean, Joe Solecki's probably still sleeping at the arena right now. Moving up on the card, we have Cody Brundage versus Reese. Brundage lands some hard shots. I think he threw a kick or ate a kick, ended up off balance, went right into a single, got a takedown. Immediately after he got the takedown, Reese was looking for like a shoulder crank or elbow crank, kind of similar to what Jones did to Glover in the clinch years ago, and I think also maybe Jacare or Jacare had it done to him with Andre Muniz, kind of a weird like arm, almost an arm bar position, but not really, just kind of cranking on the elbow, had his, you know, arm locked in underneath his armpit, and then Reese looks for a triangle. He locks up a triangle. It's looking deep, but he doesn't hook the leg. You know, typically you see a guy lock up a triangle when a guy's like postured up or standing up, they hook the leg so they really can't have that much movement. Doesn't hook the leg, and Cody Brundage just picks him up, slams him on his head, and brutally KOs him. Follows up with a couple shots. It's over. First round KO for Cody Brundage. Imagine getting KO'd in your home state in the first round after you've done absolutely nothing by Cody Brundage. Cody Brundage gets it done. You know, honestly, I never thought Cody Brundage could win a fight. I never thought he could win a fight. And at one point, Reese, I think it was on the takedown attempt, was throwing some elbows. There was one to the back of the head. I thought Cody Brundage was going to fall to the ground and say he wants a DQ, but he continues to fight. And, you know, it ended in the first round. I think it ended in the first 2 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. And, you know, I'm surprised because 30 seconds in, typically, Cody Brundage is quitting, and this ended up getting to about the 2-minute mark, if I'm not mistaken. But Cody Brundage gets it done via slam. 2 back-to-back slam KOs. Incredible. Moving up on the card, we have Miesha Tate versus Julia Avila. This was a horrible fight. Miesha Tate basically got a takedown every single round, dominated every single round. Third round, went for a kind of a rear naked choke. It was a neck crank. Finishes her, doesn't even really have the choke. Finishes her. Avila taps out. Avila looked like she was 75 years old in this fight. Looked horrible. Couldn't wrestle. Easily taken down. Miesha Tate just mauling her on the ground. Avila's been out for a while. Avila's super low level. The thing that pains me about this is, don't get me wrong, Miesha Tate destroyed her and dominated her. But Avila's been off for like, what, 2-3 years, and she was already low level before that. And people are acting like, yeah, Miesha Tate's back. She's going to make a run at a title, you know. To be honest, Julia Avila is one of the worst fighters I've ever seen in my entire life. Couldn't stuff a takedown. Never even had an opportunity to stuff a takedown. The moments for like 10, 15 seconds at the beginning of rounds when they were striking, Miesha Tate's striking. I think she trains with Juliana Pena, so it makes perfect sense. Her striking is horrendous. It's so bad. Miesha Tate's getting up there in age. She's been around forever. I'm glad she's getting a paycheck, but I don't really want to see her fight. People are talking about book the Holly Holm rematch. I think Holly Holm's past her prime, far past her prime. I think Holly Holm would dirt Miesha Tate probably. I know Miesha Tate has a win over her, but if you guys remember that fight, Holly Holm was winning 99% of it, gets choked out. But she gets the win here against Julia Avila. Means absolutely nothing. People need to stop overhyping it. Moving up the card to the first fight on the main card, Punahele Soriano versus Dustin Stoltzfus. This was an interesting fight to say the least. Stoltzfus, I feel like he won this fight. Well, he gets a second round rear naked choke, which who would have saw that coming? I mean, I guess it was a kind of predictable finish, but not really. Basically, Soriano was landing big shots on the feet in the first round. Stoltzfus was landing nasty body shots. Stoltzfus got a takedown in the first round, but Soriano got back to his feet. And at that point, it was getting close to the end of the first round, and I thought, okay, Soriano's clearly got the first round. Stoltzfus drops him at the end of the first round. So I gave the first round to Stoltzfus. And then the second round, Stoltzfus just continuing to batter the body of Soriano. Just continued to batter the body. Got an easy takedown, really met no resistance, took the back and got a rear naked choke. Soriano looked gassed in the second round. He looked gassed towards the end of the first round. And I solely credit that to the body kicks of Dustin Stoltzfus. He was battering the body with teep kicks over and over and over again. And Soriano wasn't defending against him. He had no answers for him. He would wade in and throw big shots, miss, and then get teep kicked. Now, he was clearly the better striker in terms of with his hands, with the pure boxing, but Stoltzfus was battering the body, which was making Soriano kind of slow down. Soriano landed a couple big shots, but he wasn't able to find the finish. Then he gets taken down in the second round because he's tired and he's worried about the teep kicks and he's getting battered to the body. Gets taken down with ease, with literal ease. I think he ducked under something and just dunked him to the ground. It was an easy takedown and just basically gave up his back pretty much immediately after they got on the ground and ends up getting rear naked choked in the second round. I mean, Dustin Stoltzfus gets it done. I don't want to say it's a super impressive win, but I didn't expect Stoltzfus to get that done. So he gets it done. Credit to him. Rear naked choke. Decent win. Moving up on the card, we have Joaquim Silva versus Clay Guida in the boys. Joaquim Silva wins a unanimous decision. I scored it 30-27 for Joaquim Silva. I know some people scored the second round for Guida. First round, Guida was landing some shots, and Silva was worried about the takedown clearly in the first round. He wasn't really throwing anything early, and then he landed a nasty uppercut that hurt Clay Guida. Then you had desperation takedowns from Guida. Guida got smashed in the first round badly. Clearly lost the first round. Second round, Guida was eating some shots early. Then I think he shot in on a takedown, got guillotined for a second, but then went to his back, got beat up a little bit, got back to his feet, and then he just kind of chained takedowns together throughout the back last 2.5 minutes of the second round. So that's what led to people scoring the second round for Guida. Third round, though, Silva went back out there, landed better shots, landed a head kick, landed an uppercut. Guida was shooting in on takedowns, constantly defending. Silva was constantly defending them with guillotines. And then I think in the third round also, Guida went to his back. There was a couple times it looked like it was a tight guillotine. I remember years ago, and I can't remember what fight it was. Somebody told me it was a Jim Miller fight, but I can't remember. Guida was in a tight guillotine. It looked like it was definitely going to get finished, and he somehow fought his way out of it. So I said, Guida's basically impossible to get finished via guillotine, and he kind of proved it in this fight. In the third round at one point, he was looking for a takedown, and Silva was not only defending with guillotines, he also defended with an oil check as well. So Silva got it done, just landed the better shots. Clay Guida's just getting too old. Unless he's going to call the boys in for backup in the third round, I don't know how Clay Guida is going to beat Joaquim Silva. Joaquim Silva beat him up. Clay Guida just kind of offensively wrestling the entire fight. Had a little bit of success, but not really all that much, and really not doing any damage at all, and got busted up on the feet. So Joaquim Silva gets it done. Moving up on the card, and this is where the card took a substantial leap in quality. Sean Brady versus Kelvin Gastelum. Sean Brady with a third round Kimura and an absolute dominant win over Kelvin Gastelum. He got an early takedown, got the back. It looked like it was going to be bad for Kelvin Gastelum early. Gastelum fought out of it, got out of the body triangle, got out of the, I think Brady had 2 hooks in, got out of that, scrambled out of that, got back to his feet, but looked sloppy. Literally looks sloppy. And second round, more of the same. Brady gets a takedown. This time Gastelum can't get up. Just takes him down at ease. It looks like Gastelum did never train takedown defense in his life. It was crazy. Got full mounted, had his back multiple times throughout the second round, couldn't find a finish. Third round, Gastelum gets easily taken down again, controlled, dominated. Brady started to up the aggression in the third round, started to land some good shots. And eventually ends up looking for a Kimura. I think before that, I think he was looking for a choke. I can't remember. I think he was looking for an arm triangle. Gastelum defended that. He immediately started looking for the Kimura and basically ripped Gastelum's arm off, made Gastelum tap. Sean Brady, I don't know what to make of this performance because Sean Brady looked very impressive, but he didn't do a whole lot of damage until the third round. He really didn't do any damage even in the third round. I did a little bit of ground and pound, started to open up a little bit. But Gastelum looked completely checked out in this fight. It's weird because I talked about in my prediction video, Kelvin Gastelum is a guy that never quits. When he's getting out grappled, man, he looked like he was quitting in there. He looked like he didn't want to be in there anymore. And I don't even understand. There wasn't even like the best takedowns ever. It's like Gastelum was like throwing on the feet and then he would just like fall to the ground. It's like Brady would just walk forward. And next thing you know, Gastelum's just falling to the ground and giving up his back. He would be in positions where Brady would be in like half guard or 3/4 mount or something along those lines. And next thing you know, boom, Gastelum's just giving up his back. So I don't get it. And there was times where he would almost scramble to his feet and then you'd give up his back. There was times where he was in a seated position mounted up against the fence. I think that was in the second or third round. Has his legs wrapped up, where his legs are body triangle. You're seeing the bottoms of his feet. And he's not even trying to get back his feet. He's not really trying to get back his base. And maybe it's just deflating when you have a guy like Sean Brady out grappling you. But Gastelum really didn't seem like he showed up tonight. And I don't want to discredit Brady's win. I think it's a solid win for him. But Kelvin Gastelum, he's still young, but it's almost like he's coming to the end of his career. He didn't look good at all in this fight. And I thought he would win it. His striking looked sloppy. When there was striking exchanges, he looked sloppy. I guess he's worried about the takedown. But I guess the reason he was at middleweight for so long is because there wasn't that many great grapplers at middleweight. Because Sean Brady made him look like I don't know, what is Gastelum doing? Did the weight cut take away from wrestling training? I remember years and years ago when Gastelum was at welterweight, he had decent wrestling. At one point, he was kind of known for taking guys down, getting their backs, and getting rear naked chokes. That was kind of what Kelvin Gastelum was known coming off The Ultimate Fighter. So it's just crazy to me that he's coming down a weight class. He's still the smaller guy. He was smaller than Sean Brady, by the way. And it looks like Kelvin Gastelum needs to go down to 155. Maybe Kelvin Gastelum's too excited that he's the first guy to take the smoke to Adesanya. He's still riding the coattails of that. I hate to break it to you, Gastelum. That was years ago. You're living like Uncle Rico. He went out there. I think Kelvin Gastelum thought he pulled a fast one. He's like, you know what? I don't want to fight Shavkat. Let me pull out of that fight. Let me get a much easier opponent in Sean Brady, who just lost to Beneil. Kelvin Gastelum ended up backfiring on him because he got dominated by Sean Brady. Absolutely dominated and got finished. So shout out to Brady for looking for the finish in the third round. I thought that was, some guys will just dominate you with the grappling, never really look for the finish. Brady knew, okay, let me look for the finish now. I've been dominating this fight. He's getting deflated. His heart is starting to, I'm really starting to wear on his heart and his will to be in here. Let me look for this Kimura. And he got it with relative ease. After looking for the arm triangle and him defending that. Found that and finishes Kelvin Gastelum. I'm still trying to wrap my head around this performance. I really can't make heads or tails of the performance because Brady looked so good, but Gastelum looked terrible. Even on the feet, the striking, the boxing looked horrendous. So I don't know if Gastelum's not taking it seriously. Is he past his prime? Is he not training grappling because he thought he was good? I don't know what it is, but he got bodied in this fight. You might need to think about moving down to 155. Moving up on the card to the featured fight on the main card, we have Rob Font versus Deiveson Figueiredo. Deiveson Figueiredo wins via decision, a pretty clean-cut decision. Got a couple takedowns in the first round. Hurt Font multiple times with jabs in the first round. Second round, really the same. Got a couple takedowns. Really didn't get any control time. Landed the better shots. More for the third round. Third round, he actually hurt Font badly with the left hand. Kind of swarmed him a bit. Font recovered, looking for the clinch. Then, at one point in the third round, Figgy waves on Font. Like, Font's having some moments, but really Font was looking sloppy in this fight. With his striking, which was actually surprising to me. Waves him on and then shoots a single leg. For me, where I'm from, that constitutes an ass whooping in my opinion. Waving someone to the center of the cage and then shooting a single leg. Got the single leg, dominated him for the last 2 minutes. I thought it was a clean 30-27 for Deiveson Figueiredo. But what a win. I thought this was the best debut opponent for the bantamweight division for Deiveson Figueiredo, and he went out there and he won. I mean, I still think there's some holes in his game. He ate a lot of shots from Rob Font, a lot of jabs, but for the most part, he was landing some good leg kicks. He was landing some decent combinations. He wasn't throwing as many shots as we typically see somebody like Figueiredo, but he looked good at bantamweight. He didn't look super undersized. He had some takedowns, had some grappling, dominance in this fight. It's a little bit of an exaggeration, but you get my point. He had some, positions where he controlled Rob Font, and he outstruck him. And he hurt Font multiple times with jabs. I said this during my live stream. Rob Font has the best and worst chin in the bantamweight division because he's constantly getting rocked, but he's constantly surviving. Figgy rocked him multiple times throughout this fight. Rocked him is a bit of an exaggeration. Third round, he was definitely rocked. But like the first and second, there was a couple times Rob Font got like stung by jabs. He got sweet chin music by Cheek Rivera a while back. I don't know if that's what took his chin, but with Rob Font's pillow hands, he never really, like Figgy ate some shots and he just ate them clean, you know? He didn't really wobble or anything. So I'm really excited to see where Figgy can go from here. I wouldn't mind him seeing him against like a Dominic Cruz. Some people said the Petr Yan fight. While I love that matchup, I want to see Petr Yan kind of get back on the winning track. He's on a 4-fight losing streak right now. I don't want to see that continue. So I would like to see Yan get like a win, maybe against an opponent a little bit further down the rankings, then maybe fight Figgy. But Figgy's already in his mid-30s. He's getting up there in age. Maybe one more win and then a title fight. He's already talking about dominating Sean O'Malley and finishing Sean O'Malley on the ground. That would be a big fight. And it looks like the weight cut really was having an effect on Figgy. He looked pretty good in this matchup. He looked really good. So I'm hoping not having to cut that extra 10 pounds is rejuvenating for someone like Deiveson Figueiredo. So it looked very impressive against Rob Font. Rob Font is getting old. And this may be, everyone, Father Time, is undefeated. Father Time is undefeated. And Rob Font looked old in this fight. He looked slow. He looked sloppy. I think he was worried about the takedowns. And also Figgy was still throwing heat in this fight. So, and in the third round, I thought it was actually an elbow. It was a nasty left hand. Then I think he landed a right hand. Then he started, and it looked like almost like Font was going to have one of those Shane Burgos moments against Edson Barboza. It kind of wobbled back. I thought he was just going to fall and go to sleep somehow. But Figgy started walking him down, throwing combinations, but then he realized, okay, Font's recovered. Let me take this, a little bit more conservative approach. I don't want to get over aggressive and get hurt myself. Backed up, waved him on, then shot a single leg, controlled him, dominated him for the last 2 minutes of the third round. Wins a fairly clear-cut decision against one of the top 10 bantamweights. Can't wait to see who Figgy fights next. Moving up the card to the co-main event, we have Jalin Turner versus Bobby Green. I don't even want to talk about this, to be quite honest, because, the fight was ruined by Kerry Hatley. Kerry Hatley is an absolute embarrassment. Jalin Turner gets a first-round KO over Bobby Green. I guess Bobby Green's too busy thinking about Arman Tsarukyan instead of the actual fight. Bobby Green's talking in the fight. He's throwing some oblique kicks. He landed a couple shots upstairs. I think he landed left hand early. Jalin Turner, willing and able to stand in the pocket and bang with Bobby Green. Took some to land some. Eventually, Jalin Turner stung Bobby Green a couple times, landed a head kick. At one point, landed like a nasty, heavy two-piece. And both of those times, I thought he was going to rock Bobby Green. Bobby Green just ate it and kept talking to him and throwing shots back and throwing some heavy oblique kicks from Bobby Green. And, I'm wondering, okay, if Bobby Green's taking those shots, he's probably going to, be able to survive to go on in the fight and eat the big shots from Jalin Turner. Jalin Turner might slow down because he took it on short notice. He's already not known for the best gas tank, and he had a crazy weight cut. Well, it doesn't matter because Jalin Turner lands a nasty right hand, drops Bobby Green. Bobby Green's basically out from the right hand. Basically completely out. Jalin Turner follows him to the ground and just starts pounding him away with ground and pound. I've only rewatched it once in its entirety. I counted 19 unanswered strikes on the ground. He was just beating Bobby Green's dead body. I mean, Kerry Hatley needs to be thrown in prison. I mean, if Jalin Turner and Bobby Green knew each other, that would have been domestic violence. But it's a sanctioned fight. They don't know each other. They signed a contract to fight each other. Kerry Hatley needs to be thrown in prison. Somebody needs to be held accountable for this. Kerry Hatley should lose his job, and he might end up in another video very, very shortly. But this was one of the worst stoppages I've ever seen. The only stoppage that I can think of off the top of my head that was worse than this stoppage was when Herb Dean stopped the fight. It was CB Dalloway, and he was fighting a Russian guy whose name I can't pronounce. And this guy was just beating up Dalloway. Dalloway was just curled into a ball on the ground. He's just bouncing his head off the mat for like a minute. Straight. Herb Dean never even steps in. Then at the end of the round, Herb's like, get up. The dude's literally dead. CB Dalloway's dead on the ground. Herb's like, get up. CB Dalloway never gets up in between rounds. He finally waves off the fight. That's the only thing I can compare to this. I don't know what Kerry Hatley was watching. I don't know what he was watching. It could have been stopped after the drop. I like them, giving them an opportunity to try to get out of the position. Bobby Green laid there, motionless. He was literally unconscious and ate 19 unanswered strikes. Was probably out after like 1 or 2 or 3 after he hit the ground. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I'm disgusted with Kerry Hatley. And I'm annoyed because this overshadows a pretty solid win by Jalin Turner. He went in there on short notice. Bobby Green, surging guy, just brutally slapped Grant Dawson. He's still sleeping at the apex. And now Jalin Turner, instead of us talking about, damn, Jalin Turner looked fast. He looked powerful. He beat Bobby Green on short notice, who has kind of a wonky striking style. Instead, we're talking about Kerry Hatley. I mean, think about this. Kerry Hatley's stoppages are worse than his hairline. I mean, that's really saying something. That's really, truly saying something. Get Kerry Hatley out of there. Get him out of there. And the reason this pisses me off so badly is it's going to cost somebody their life. Somebody's going to get killed, and that's going to hurt the sport drastically. I mean, that could literally be the end of the sport. If somebody gets killed in the UFC, I know people have died in amateur MMA. It happens every year. But if it happens in the UFC, that's going to be it's going to hurt the sport badly. It's going to set it back decades in terms of public perception. And, also, not even just setting the sport back. I mean, Bobby Green has a family. He has a family, all right? And I'm assuming he loves his family. So the fact that you have Kerry Hatley potentially getting him to take his life, or Kerry Hatley's basically sanctioning the death of Bobby Green, I'm disgusted. Bobby Green looked okay up until the finish. Jalin Turner was definitely tagging him on the feet, having more success. But Bobby Green looked okay. He was having fun in there. He was talking. If Bobby Green would have done this to Jalin Turner, Bobby Green's stock would have shot through the roof. But Jalin Turner, coming off that loss to Dan Hooker, gets back on the winning track. Solid win for Jalin Turner, especially on short notice. I think Bobby Green maybe a little bit too focused on Arman Tsarukyan and kind of, that whole beef behind the scenes. And instead, now he gets KO'd by Jalin Turner. And that win against Grant Dawson was all for nothing. Moving up the card to the main event, we have Beneil Dariush versus Arman Tsarukyan. I already did a full breakdown of this on my channel, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, considering, it was a 1-minute knockout. Arman Tsarukyan knocks out Beneil Dariush in the first round. Beneil Dariush landed a couple good hard inside leg kicks, even threw a head kick early. Arman didn't really land a whole lot until he finished him. And what the finishing sequence was, Arman threw a big right hand over the top. Dariush kind of blocked it, but it kind of grazed him like next to the ear. When he was avoiding it and blocking it, kind of ducked down with his guard up. You had Arman grab the Muay Thai clinch, throw a knee up the middle that I thought rocked Beneil, but on the replay, it showed that he was not rocked. He didn't get hit by the knee. And as Beneil pulled up, boom, Arman just starches him with a right hand. It was over after the right hand landed. Followed him to the ground with nasty ground and pound shots. Referee jumps in. 1 minute KO for Beneil Dariush. This was a statement win for Arman, a statement win. And I've always said that Beneil Dariush is a bit overrated, and I said he's kind of chinny, and I said he's slow. And I even said in my other post-fight video, like, somebody needs to check Beneil Dariush's birth certificate. You cannot convince me that he's 34 years old. I will not be convinced that he's 34 years old. He has to be at least like 45. He looks slow. I mean, the gray hair. And, looking at them in the stare down in the cage, I'm like, look at Arman. Look how young and just jacked he looks compared to Beneil looking like a grandpa and looking, there's no muscle definition. And I'm like, yeah, I like my pick. I'm confident in my pick. And thinking back, the logic should have been Arman by KO because Beneil just doesn't move his head and he's slow and he's stuck in the mud. I've been saying it for a long time. I don't know how people were confident he was going to beat Charles. I picked Charles by finish as well. And, not Arman. I was going to say Arman for a second. Beneil, over the course of his career, he's been KO'd in the first round a lot. Ramsey Ninja, Alexander Hernandez, Charles Oliveira, now Arman Tsarukyan. I'm pretty sure there's one other in there that I'm not thinking of. Edson Barboza, I think that was in the second round. But you get the point. Flying knee. Beneil's kind of shown a little bit of chinniness throughout the course of his career. So I don't want to take away from Arman's win, but I still think we have to put that in context. But I'm just happy Beneil is someone towards the top of the lightweight division that's willing to fight backwards. I'm tired of these contenders saying, I'm not fighting backwards. I don't want to fight anyone behind me. Well, blood and sweat, if you're doing the rankings, they're one of the media members that does the rankings, you better rank Arman Tsarukyan in the top 4. He better take at least Beneil Dariush's spot in number 4. But ultimately, what impressed me so much is Arman just adding facets to his game. What he did to Beneil, while I kind of undermined it by saying Beneil's not that good, you've seen that Arman's adding facets to his game. One-punch KO power, improving his striking with his hands, his boxing. He's already shown really good kicks in the striking. He's already really shown really good offensive grappling and defensive grappling. So adding to that, being so young, I know people were saying, he's overrated after he got rocked by Joaquim Silva, who fought on the same card against Clay Guida and the boys. I think that was a bit jumping the gun. He got clipped with one shot. He dominated the entire fight. Didn't mean much. If Joaquim Silva was almost winning that fight, then you could kind of say Arman's a little bit overrated, but he wasn't. He just rocked him one time. Arman survived, eventually finished him. I think this proves what we already kind of know, that Arman Tsarukyan's one of the best in the world. In the fight I want to see next, my most the most compelling fight I think the UFC can make right now, for me personally, let me know down in the comments what you guys think, where you would put this on your list, is Islam Makhachev versus Arman Tsarukyan 2. Tsarukyan is such a tough puzzle to solve. Then you have the backstory of they fought, a couple years ago. Both of them have improved rapidly. Both of them have good striking and shown knockout power, where they used to kind of be known as grapplers. I need to see that fight. Arman, such a savage, one of my favorite fighters now. He's saying, I want the title shot next, but if not, I'll fight anyone. I will be champion. And that's the mindset you have to have, because he's thinking, no matter what, I will be champion one day. I'll keep, you line him up and I will knock him down. Arman Tsarukyan with a great win in the main event. I mean, to put out Beneil Dariush so viciously in the first round, that is a statement win, and I'm glad that Arman Tsarukyan finally got that jump up the rankings and gets that statement win. Let me know what you guys thought of the card down in the comments. It was a pretty crazy card. I did terrible in terms of predictions. I don't even remember what my prediction record was for this card, but UFC Austin was really fun to watch. Let me know what you guys think down below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and thank you so much for watching.